r/nosleep thread by Pale Series 7. My friends say I've been visiting them at night. I haven't left my house in weeks. So I bought this mirror at a flea market about 3 weeks ago. It was old and heavy, with a carved wooden frame that had gone through multiple restorations. It smelled faintly damp. The seller told me it came from an estate sale. I naturally thought it would make my bare apartment feel less empty. The first night I set it up, I noticed something strange. When I passed it in the dark, my reflection didn't quite match. My face looked distorted and wrong, and my mouth was forced into uncomfortably stretched lips. But then I realized that was how glass warped reflections in bad lighting. I used to have a lot of fun with this weird trick in the bedroom mirror when I was a child. For a few days, it behaved like a normal mirror, as it should have. Nothing was magical about it. It just did a good job filling the empty space by the cabinet in my bedroom. Sometime a week later, I caught movement in the corner of my eye and realized that I was standing in the mirror even though I was in the corridor leading to the room. Light couldn't bend that far. Another time I walked past it and somehow the reflection hesitated, just a beat, before following. I stopped looking directly at it after that. It weirded me out so much. I convinced myself I was just seeing things for quite some time. The reflection did not misbehave too. However, once in broad daylight, I found myself staring at the mirror just too long. Felt this weird attraction. I broke contact when fear got the better of me, especially when I realized that the sclera in my eyes looked stark, uncannily wide. It creeped me out. The next morning, Friday, I brushed it off and tried to throw myself back into work. I was already running late when I finally made it into the office. I hadn't even sat down at my desk when one of my coworkers slid past with a weird look on his face. "You were in the bathroom on your floor this morning," he said, like he couldn't believe he was saying it. Just standing there staring, wouldn't answer me, kind of freaked me out. I froze. I had been back at home until 25 minutes before. That day drifted by. I even visited the bedroom myself to check if my reflection did dirty its weird tricks. Nothing was overly unusual, other than the weird lag to my movements that was persistent. Later that night, the call started. My phone woke me up with a buzz sometime close to 3:47 a.m., like a warning in my palm. I fumbled for it. I had 11 missed calls, all from my friend Maria, miles away from where I lived. My thumb blurred as I flipped through them, 9 in the last 20 minutes and 2 from earlier that night. Her name had never looked so frantic on my screen. I hit play on the newest voicemail she left me. She didn't respond to any of the calls I sent further. Her voice burst out of the speaker before the beep. A ragged sound, half sentence, half scream. "Stop, please stop ringing the bells. What are you doing?" Under her words was another sound. Numerous high metallic rings, spaced too evenly, quite deliberately at first. The next voicemail. "Pick up the phone, this isn't funny. Drew, I can see you on the ring. Stop it. Stop it. Why are you grinning at me? Stop. Oh God, please. I won't open the door. Stop." The rings were unnaturally placed now, too rapid for human fingers to place. I fear I heard a massive door crash open by the end of the clip. I texted her, tried calling her back, no response. No blue ticks, no typing. My chest lugged its own panic. Just then, in the darkness of my room, I saw something move in the doorway as I rested my phone. A wedge of a shadow shaped like a person, standing perfectly still at the threshold of my room where the corridor light died. The silhouette tightened, shoulders, a head, but it didn't breathe. It slowly crawled away from the door, almost crab-walking, disjointly, its way out by the wall. Needless to say, I was too traumatized to get any sleep that night. The timely, gentle knocking on the mirror, repeating after every few minutes, didn't help either. My back turned to it. I didn't dare to look back. I felt like I was being watched. The following morning, Saturday, was nothing less of getting caught in a pile of unread messages. Maria still didn't reply back. I was deeply concerned. However, my messaging app was not flooded with dozens of messages from countless familiars. Friends and family miles away, all asking the same thing in 100 different tones of annoyance, confusion, and fear. What the hell was I doing at their house last night? My cousin in Boston. Drew, if this is your idea of a joke, it's not funny. You scared my kids. An old college roommate 40 miles over. Dude, you good? What's going on? I won't mind you dropping by at all, but breaking in and running away is not funny. A message followed by paragraphs of stuff he claimed I did. Many more messages. I tried to deny them all. It wasn't physically possible for me to be at so many different places at once. One of my friends sent me a small clip demanding explanation. It was a shot from her front door, and pressed against the narrow glass panel beside was my face. The sclera of my eyes were stark, unnaturally wide, just like I had seen in the mirror previously. A jarring grin etched to my face, eyes that followed the camera, just standing observing. By the end of the clip itself, from the opposite angle, I had disappeared into thin air. I was no longer there. I spent the rest of Saturday and Sunday in a frantic haze, calling and texting everyone who had contacted me. I tried to plead that I was not guilty, begged for forgiveness, even reasoned so far as to making a group chat and listing out all the messages I received to show how it was just not possible for me to pull all of this in one night. I gained some trust after that, but the question still remained unresolved. How? Who? Or what? By Sunday night, defeated and utterly alone, I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed the thickest, mustiest blanket from my closet, the one I had never used, and just threw it over the mirror, tucking the edges behind the frame until the entire thing was shrouded. For the next 3 days, I got no more calls or texts, no more uncanny reports of me standing outside their windows at night or breaking in. Was it some bizarre, shared delusion? Maybe covering the mirror had worked. Maybe it was over. Maybe. Last night, I almost slept through the night for the first time in a week. However, I was jolted awake by a sound from the corner of my bedroom. A soft thump, followed by the sound of heavy fabric slithering to the floor. My blood ran cold. I sat up in bed, tense, only to see that the blanket was off the mirror now. However, my face looked disoriented, eyes seemed to twitch, and an uncanny grin curled my lips in the lasting reflection. I wasn't making any faces. Just then, I heard a sharp chime. The doorbell, a single, sharp, deliberate press. My phone buzzed. A motion alert from the smart doorbell. And there it was, my own face, warped by the wide-angle lens, staring directly into the camera. That awful stretched grin plastered across its features. It wasn't moving, just waiting yet again, patiently. I didn't dare to get up and open the door. The ringing picked up pace, almost as fast as one of those vintage iron alarm clocks, a frantic metallic peal that vibrated through the walls. As I got up to examine the corridor that led to the living room, the shadow figure perched at its end, a fearless silhouette blocking my only way out. As soon as I had acknowledged it, the ringing stopped. The silence that followed was somehow more worse. Then I heard it again, that soft, rhythmic knocking coming from the mirror right behind me. I turned hesitantly, and there was my reflection, anticipating this moment, grinning, its eyes almost protruding from its skull. It was posed as if on the verge of leaping right through the glass. I had enough of this. This was not my reflection, just something pretending to be it. I picked up the heavy metal lamp from my nightstand. The base was solid iron, cold and unforgiving in my strong grip. The moment my fingers closed around it, the shadow at the end of the hall surged forward at an unnatural pace. I had a split second, no time to think, only to act. I spun and hurled the lamp with all my strength at the grinning face in the mirror. The shriek of tortured glass was instantaneous. The mirror didn't just break, it exploded. A concussive blast of force and glittering shrapnel burst outward. I threw my arms up, but it was useless. The force stripped me back against the bed as 1,000 hot needles dug into my arms, my face, and my chest. The noise died, replaced by a high-pitched ringing in my ears. I lay there, gasping, the coppery taste of blood in my mouth. The air smelled of ozone. Slowly, I pushed myself to a sitting position. My bathroom was a disaster. A carpet of glittering razor sharp shards covered everything. The wall was empty. The shadow in the hallway was gone. It was over. A wave of painful, profound relief washed over me. It had to be over. My rage gave way to a throbbing, aching reality. Looking down, I saw dozens of deep, bleeding cuts on my skin. A long shard of glass was embedded in my forearm. After a moment of calm, clear thought, I carefully wrapped my arm in the towel, grabbed my keys, and drove myself to the ER. Hours later, stitched and bandaged, I finally stumbled back into my apartment. The exhaustion was bone deep. I didn't feel like sleeping in my bedroom anymore. It was a mess. It didn't feel safe either. I just locked the front door, fell into the couch in my living room, trying to rest myself. The painkillers dragged me down into a drowsy, dreamless haze. I was finally safe. I didn't know how long I slept, but as my consciousness started to surface abruptly from my slumber, I felt something coldly familiar. A sense of being watched. My eyelids felt heavy as lead, but I forced them open, one last time before drifting off completely. And there, standing perfectly still in the darkness of the corridor to my room, was a familiar wedge of shadow shaped like a person. Thought it was gone in a blink. I don't really know what made it stay, but I fear it's not leaving anytime soon. From the r/nosleep from cave flies. I heard noises in the attic. Did you hear that? My wife asked, poking her head into the office. Hear what? I glanced up from my computer. That, it sounded like a bird trapped in our attic. I got up and went to the living room. All I could hear were distant cars and dogs barking outside. I don't hear anything. I swear it's a bird. It was whistling. If it makes you feel better, I'll go up there and shoot whatever's bothering you. No, don't kill it. Just go up and see what it is. Ugh, fine. I made my way towards the garage, ruffled my toddler's hair as I passed by in the dining room. Doing good, buddy? Yes, Daddy. I wrenched the door open, finding myself in our garage. Right above my head was the attic door. Ugh, I shuddered. I hated going up there. Ever since we'd moved, the space felt spooky, like another world was living above our heads. Careful, Daddy. I spun to the kitchen doorway. My toddler was watching me with a fearful expression. Hey, sweetie, didn't see you there. It's not safe. Why not? That's where the kitty lives. The kitty? What kitty? The kitty that speaks to me. Sometimes it whispers in my ears while asleep. It's not nice. I locked eyes with him for a moment. Remember, those are dreams, and dreams aren't real. Okay, Daddy. I sighed wearily as I ascended the ladder. The thing was narrow. I could barely haul myself up without falling off. Next house we buy, I'm installing a bigger one. I reached the empty space and shined my phone's flashlight into the darkness. The area felt cold for the middle of summer, like it was harboring a wintry climate. Any birds up here? I shouted. If you are, it's time to leave. I bumped my fist against a slanted beam, half expecting a robin or a titmouse to come fluttering out, but there were no signs of anything. I started back down. As soon as my left foot hit the lowest rung, a sharp whistle crashed into my ears. Did you hear that? My wife shouted from the kitchen. The whistle grew in volume, mixed with a twinge of insanity. It's a kitty. My son's voice drifted in from the house. I climbed back up and hoisted myself onto the attic's floor. I searched the rafters, hoping to catch sight of some deranged bird. The volume increased and I doubled over. A burning sensation hit in my ears. Oh God, it hurts. Finally, the noise stopped. I glanced up into the rafters, noticing something watching me. Whatever it was slid down and landed next to me. It slipped past, soundless like a predatory cat, and headed for the ladder, moving its dark form with effortless grace. Honey, what's going on? Catherine, I wanted to scream, my voice refused. Get out, take Joey, and run. I tried to move, but my muscles disobeyed. I was paralyzed and mute, watching this panther like entity creep toward the exit. Honey, I'm getting concerned. Should I call your uncle? Jesus, Catherine, just go. Someone, please help. I managed to reach out, pull myself up by a beam, and swing a hand out toward the creature. The thing turned and focused its yellow eyes on me. Its slimy lips pursed and emitted the most unholy sound. Then, I passed out. An hour later, the EMTs found me sprawled on the garage floor. My nose and 2 ribs were broken, my ears were bleeding, and I had 2 gashes on my chest. The paramedics lifted me carefully and carried me out on a stretcher. I'm not sure when I arrived at the hospital. It's been maybe 2 days. I still can't speak. Every time I open my mouth, a painful wheeze comes out. And my ears, they work on and off. So I miss half of everything that's said. At least I have control over my arms and legs again, and thankfully Catherine and Joey are safe. They're at my dad's, trying to wrap their brains around what happened. My uncle checked the attic. He said there's nothing up there but a few scratch marks in the wood. All I can do is rest in this hospital room and type this experience on my phone. I can't sleep. All I can think about is what was that thing? How did it get up there? And will it ever come back?